Am I the asshole? For not attending my brother's child-free wedding because I don't want to get a sitter? My brother is getting married to his fiancée in 2 weeks, which we just found out over the weekend. They are getting married on her father's estate and the reception will be there as well. I don't really interact with his fiancée much, but she seems nice and makes my brother happy, so good for them. They let us know that the wedding would be child-free as well, which is entirely their choice. However, as much as it hurts, I don't think I am going to be attending. My daughter has recently been diagnosed with epilepsy, which I have also dealt with most of my life, so I know this gets worse before it gets better. We are going through tests, medication changes, venue is over 3 hours away, and I am completely uncomfortable leaving her for that long. I let my brother know this and he was hurt, and said that I am punishing them for having a child-free wedding, and they are entitled to do so. I said he is absolutely entitled to do so, but they gave little notice and he can't get mad when people put their children first, especially when they are dealing with medical issues. He said I should just get a sitter, and I told him absolutely not, I am not comfortable doing that with everything going on. He said I was being an asshole and sorry, the world doesn't revolve around your kid. X200B. My parents understand my decision. His fiancée thinks I am being a complete asshole as well. Am I the asshole? X200B. AITA husband and I are still together. Because of his job he will be away at the time of the wedding. Not the asshole. 2 weeks is a ridiculous amount of warning time, child issue or not. Sorry, the world doesn't revolve around your kid. Ops world does, and rightfully so. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. People have the right to a child-free wedding, but the flip side is that they have to understand that people may not be able to come. You can't make demands and then be mad that people can't comply. Not the asshole. Tell your brother the world doesn't revolve around his shotgun wedding. Not the asshole. Sorry, the world does not revolve around your wedding. Not the asshole. Sounds like the 20 years old has a lot of growing up to do. Not the asshole. A wedding invitation is an invitation, not a demand to appear. Anyone can RSVP no for any reason, and you've got a very valid reason here. I would not be leaving a 2 years old with newly diagnosed epilepsy with a sitter either, particularly since family sitters aren't going to be an option because family wedding. Not the asshole. I had a child-free wedding. One of the things you need to accept when making the choice to do that is that there are simply going to be people with kids who don't want to or cannot make that wedding. It's unfair of the bride and groom to then take offense of that, especially given the circumstances. Not the asshole. Tell your brother that yes, my world does revolve around my child. I am not asking for your world to even include her. I hope someday if you become a parent you will then understand. Not the asshole. Your husband is working, your parents will be attending. It seems like all of the humans you trust to take care of her aren't able to babysit. It's not a normal situation, and your brother and bride are not being gracious at all about her diagnosis and the impact of that on your family. Your daughter comes first. Plus they gave a 2 weeks notice for a child-free event. They get what they get and you don't throw a fit. Hopefully with time, they will see what ass faces they are being. Good for you for saying no. Not the asshole. Also, LOL, a teenage bride having a child-free wedding. Sorry, the world doesn't revolve around your kid. Actually bro, mine does. Have a great wedding. Not the asshole. Invitations are not legal summons. They gave you little notice and I doubt that you'll be the first person to decline the invitation for whatever reason. Your brother sounds immature and your fiancé seems to be following suit. If he's going to be away then he has no right to comment as he can't help you either. Not the asshole. Even if your daughter hadn't just received the epilepsy diagnosis you wouldn't be TA. They gave 2 weeks notice. Who does that? He can say the world doesn't revolve around your kid, but it doesn't revolve around him or his teenage bride either. Not the asshole. I'm sorry your brother is being so ugly to you. Tell him that the world doesn't revolve around his hastily thrown together wedding. Tell him you'll come to the next one. Doesn't sound like a great start to a marriage, TBH. Not the asshole. I wouldn't leave my sick baby to go to a wedding 3 hours away either. When you choose to have a child-free wedding, a valid choice, you also need to accept that some parents cannot or will not make your wedding a priority over their child. Your brother and his fiancée AITA here. Uncle is fine with leaving a baby, who could have a seizure, with no parent for at least 8-10 hours. Don't worry, you can catch his next wedding in about 5 years. Children do not want children at their wedding faced with tears of joy. He's right that the world doesn't revolve around your kid, but it doesn't revolve around him either. Not the asshole. Your child has a serious medical condition that even many sitters would be reluctant to deal with. She comes first versus attending a wedding. Also, the challenge of child-free weddings of close relatives is that most of your usual babysitters will be attending. I'm more Suze at the short-notice wedding, however. Maybe that is why the fiancé is upset, because she's nervous about something being exposed and they need to tie the knot ASAP and wants you there for cred. Not the asshole, but he and his fiancée sound like spoiled children playing house. Your toddler has epilepsy, which is new for her and for you. Of course you don't feel comfortable having a sitter, and they gave basically no notice for the wedding. Take care of your girl and don't at all feel badly about your decision to stay home. Child-free wedding for a 19-20-year-old couple who are also pregnant themselves. OMG, that is so funny, it's silly. They are babies and about to have a baby. Not the asshole. Maybe suggest getting a family photo for the parents at Christmas. Not the asshole. I'm not sure it would go even if she were allowed. IDK how often she has seizures, but you probably wouldn't want to deal with that during a wedding. And it sounds like he'd be pissed if she drew attention away. The irony of having a child-free wedding when they are practically not only children themselves, but likely having a rushed wedding due to an unplanned pregnancy is too much. They gave 2 weeks notice for a child-free wedding, and they, I assume, know about the distance you'd have to travel, as well as your daughter's health situation. You are so not the asshole that I don't even know why you're doubting yourself. Not the asshole. You are letting your brother know in advance that you won't be attending and respecting his decision to have a child-free wedding. Your kid is your priority and is important you take good care of her, so wanting to stay is super reasonable, and the fact that your kid is more important for you than this event is okay too. The world does not revolve around his wedding either, and you are being fully responsible. The safety of a child is more important than a wedding, every time. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. People have the right to have child-free weddings. But by doing so they must accept that people will often decline the invite for various reasons. You have a bloody big valid reason. Your daughter needs you right now. Your brother and his girlfriend are TA. The world doesn't revolve around their wants. It's purely childish to throw a tantrum and call people names based on decisions they made. Maybe the happy couple should grow up a bit and stop acting like the children they don't want at the wedding. Not the asshole. They are entitled to have a child-free wedding, but they can't get upset if people can't come. Not the asshole. They are entitled to have a child-free wedding. However, they also need to understand that you are entitled to decline an invitation to their wedding for whatever reason you choose. An invitation isn't a subpoena. You aren't obligated to attend. You definitely are well within your rights to put your child's health concerns over your brother's wedding. Your brother and future SIL should understand that if they choose to have a child-free wedding, then some parents might just choose to come. The R's here are your brother and his fiancée for guilt-tripping you about choosing not to attend. Not the asshole. They have the right to host a child-free event, and you have the right to not attend because it impacts